And back now here at the KFYR Plus News Desk, and we are smack dab into the holiday season, and many people love to enjoy Christmas movies at this time of year. Some people enjoy others. Well, they shudder at the thought of having to watch Christmas movies. So what is so polarizing about these holiday flicks? Joining me to discuss the psychology behind it is Dr. Matt Chalmers. Welcome, Dr. Chalmers. Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
Well, what do you think makes Christmas movies so popular and beloved by so many people, Dr. Chalmers?
A lot of the times it's the festival of Christmas. Like you can like Christmas, everybody likes Christmas, but how much do you really like Christmas? And the more into the festival you are, the more you're into all the things around it, the decorations, the movies, all the stuff.
And so, how do you think the movies contribute to the overall holiday spirit and the traditions of folks?
Well, they kind of help bolster the whole idea, because when you get really immersed in Christmas and you're watching the movies and you're getting the mood and the whole arc of I was a bad person and these great things happened to me and now I'm a good person. Like that whole arc is really beneficial to not only the festival part of it, but the whole renewing of people, the soul that we're all looking for.
Yeah, and why do people have such a strong aversion to holiday movies?
It's just, I think it's more of if you're not really into the festival, you can be really religious, you can be everything else, but if you're not really into the festivities part, the festival part, people don't like them nearly as much, which I think is one of the reasons why Die Hard, if you look at any of these movies lists, Die Hard's always at the top, because a lot of people who aren't really into the festival, they're like, look, I want to be part of your group. I want to be, here's the offering, the olive branch of agreeableness. If you'll count Die Hard as a Christmas movie, I'll watch Die Hard with you and we'll have a great time watching that.
Oh, well, leading up to this interview, Dr. Chalmers, around the office here, I've been talking to some of the reporters and some of the hosts about, do they feel that movie, in fact, is a Christmas movie? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? What is your position on it?
Well, so the way I see it is it's what a Christmas movie would be if you let a man make it. Because it's like, remember, it's an estranged family. He comes to meet her for Christmas and things go awry and he has personal difficulties. And at the end, they decide to reconcile the family unit and kind of come back together. So technically, it does kind of carry the motif. But since there's guns involved, people usually think it's not really a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I'm on that side of the aisle. I don't feel like it has that Christmas feel to it, Doc. So it's not in mine, but I like the movie. And in fact, one of the reporters that we have, she's a meteorologist. She's never seen it, and I said, you've got to over the holidays at least watch it. Come on now, you gotta watch it. So let me ask you this. Do you think the commercial aspect of Christmas movies contributes to why maybe some people stay away or dislike them?
Absolutely. When we start trying to push the whole, buying things and the materialism, that's really antithetical to what this Christmas spirit actually is about. So I think when people see that, they obviously go, hey, this is not what Christmas is about. We shouldn't be pushing it in this direction. And so that creates a lot of animosity towards them as well, which is, I think, deserved.
Yeah. And also it seems like every year Christmas gets a lot earlier in the calendar year, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems like the Christmas trees and the lights go up and the Christmas music comes on in the stores a lot earlier. Like it's coming before Thanksgiving, and we're like, let's have turkey first, then we can talk about Christmas.
You're right. Any psychological benefits people gain from watching Christmas movies?
There's a bunch of different things. Like, if you watch them with your family, it's a thing to do with the family unit. It's that whole the really good, hero's journey arc of, things are not where they're supposed to be. We go through this, this transformative period, and then things are great at the end. And so like that view of hope, that view of things can get better, the things of, the idea of there's a time of the year where we all decide to make ourselves better and kind of go back to being helpful. There's a big, big, big benefit to that, to people kind of deciding, hey, you know what, from here on out, maybe I could be a little bit more Christmas spirit and, help people out a little bit more.
Can you discuss the concept of guilty pleasure and how watching Christmas movies might fit into that category?
Absolutely. Guilty pleasures are the things that we all really enjoy, but we're like, you know what? It's probably not worth the time. It's not worth the calories. It's not worth the this or that. But, I really do enjoy them. And, Christmas movies are a great thing to kind of dive into the festivities and kind of, if that's the thing that you enjoy, they're usually going to be more beneficial to your psyche than, say, reality TV. So if you're going to pick kind of a guilty pleasure, Christmas movies isn't a bad one.
Yeah. Do you think holiday films reflect or challenge any societal expectations around this holiday season?
A lot of the classics ones, Christmas Carol, that type of thing, I think really kind of reinforce the old festival ideas of the rebirth, the regeneration, that type of thing. Some of the new ones I think are a little bit more materialistic in nature. There's some that are just big, fun family films. Elf is a new one, and it's very, very family centered. It's a great old motif of bringing the family back together around a Christmas time. And so some of these are really, really great. The themes of these movies are really what matters. If it brings the family together, if it makes people healthier and happier, usually that's a positive function. When we start talking about the materialistic things, that's where it kind of gets sideways.
Yeah, that was my next question. And how do you compare, or how do modern Christmas movies compare to some classic in terms of appeal and even impact on families?
I think Elf versus the Christmas Carol is a great option because, everybody seems to love the movie Elf. Like my kids love it, my wife loves it. I think it's a great movie, but it's about that never-ending hope, that childhood hope for reuniting a family and becoming just engulfed in this family love and this family bond unit. And so it's pretty fantastic. Like A Christmas Carol was about changing your person to make yourself better for community, which is also great. But like some of the newer ones are more focused on bringing families back together, which I don't think was a big deal. We didn't have any much separation of family, 60 years ago.
Sure. I got to ask you, and I'm going to let you think about it because we got to find out your personal favorite. If you've got a personal favorite, I'm going to give you some of mine. Right at the top of the list for me is Christmas Story. I just think that is such a great story. I grew up with it. I'm a child from the early 1980s. Christmas Vacation is closely at number 2. Then, of course, Elf, Home Alone, and Charlie Brown Christmas. There's my top 5, Doc. I mean, it's hard to get any other movie to knock one of those out of the top 5 for me. What say you on maybe one of your favorites?
So I like the old Christmas Carol. That's one of my favorites. Elf is always awesome. So I'm a big Die Hard fan. I think it's a fantastic movie, and we should get to watch that one during the holiday season.
Yeah.
So A Christmas Story. I'm also from the '80s, and so Christmas Story definitely is in my list. And the Chevy Chase, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is spectacular. So you always got to bring that one in too.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Chalmers, thank you so much for the insight into this. It's very fascinating. And, every year, there's no fail. I sit down and I watch Christmas Story, Elf, and also National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And without fail, and if I can watch them back to back to back, I'm a happy man.
Well, that's fantastic. Is that one of those things you watch it with your kids and your family? And
We
the whole
do.
Thing, or?
Yep. We try to watch it all together, get together, and make some popcorn, hot cocoa, and we sit down and maybe we're watching while we're watching it, we throw the tree up or some decorations as well, or wrapping presents. It's kind of the tradition that we like to do, and I enjoy that, and I think many families do as well.
I would agree. That's one of those things that, that's what creates the memories of the holidays. This is why a lot of the kids will want to watch those movies, because it reminds them of dad. It reminds them of, when I was a kid doing this, and they want to share that same thing with their kids. So, that's a lot of the carryover of these things, is that it really does kind of help build lasting legacies and traditions.
Which, reminds me, before I let you go, I was talking with one of the reporters. You and I, like I said, we've got The Christmas Story. We've got Vacation that came out in 1989, Home Alone in 1990 or 91, I think, or something around that time frame. What is coming out nowadays in 2010, 2015, 2020, 24 even, that is going to be one of those movies that's going to be a classic that we're going to be watching 20 years from now, right? Are there any movies that, maybe you're not a big movie guy yourself, but is there anything that maybe you can think of that, hey, you know what, in 15 years, we're going to be watching this movie?
I don't know what's come out in the last couple of months. I haven't seen. The Rock just made one with called Red One, and I haven't seen it yet. But I will tell you, Elf is a classic. It's hard to make a classic, and so they don't come out very often. But Elf is definitely going to be something I'm going to watch with my grandkids.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Dr. Chalmers, thank you so much. Appreciate the insight. You have yourself a happy holiday season and Merry Christmas, all right?
Merry Christmas to you, sir.